Wortox prior to the Wickerbottom update was just bad. Just awful. Just the worst. In contention for the worst character in the game, as we can all unanimously agree and without any disagreement whatsoever by anybody. And I want to take this moment to clarify on the points that I bring up in previous videos, just to establish where Wortox was, in my opinion, moving forward. I see a lot of people saying things like, just deal with the sanity monsters, or just eat more, things of that nature, where the point I was trying to make, but didn't make it as clear as I should have, was Wortox is bad, because if you take into account the time to get the souls themselves, a lot of times it wasn't worth dealing with in comparison to any other character simply not having to deal with that issue, including his other issue. The issue wasn't necessarily that they were difficult to overcome, the issue was just the points at which his benefits are impactful do not outweigh the instances in which his downside is impactful, which is throughout the entirety of the game. Because effectively, Wortox had a double hunger drain, and the trade-off was he sometimes gets a trail mix equivalent. Now, I'm not going to dwell on that for too long, because I have a video on it that you could watch if you want to. But, you know, with all that being said, let's talk about whether or not the changes were enough to make grinding souls worth your time and effort. Wortox's newest abilities are not really entirely new, they're just things that build on Wortox's already established perks, and you just get more value out of them now. Starting off with soul healing, which is the one that people bring up the most when it comes to Wortox's upgrades, prior to the rework at least. He now restores a bit of sanity whenever he heals, and this helps a little bit to offset Wortox's sanity loss when he eats souls, and overall it's not too impactful in regards to how much it impacts his sanity, but it's a nice touch. It's good for him in a very small way. Now, eating the souls restores a bit more hunger, which makes eating souls even more worth it. However, he still loses the sanity, so I would not recommend making that your primary source of food if you can't deal with the sanity loss, or if you just don't want to deal with the sanity loss. Teleporting is easily the biggest change, and this teleport is insanely strong. Whenever you soul hop on screen, can effectively teleport twice, because you can pop what is called a soul echo, which for a short amount of time you're just able to extend your teleport to one screen's worth additional to the initial one at no cost of soul. The real big thing that people focus on is you can now teleport across the map given that you have enough souls. This is map wide, and the range is relative to the cost that you have on you, so it could be anywhere between 1 soul to a full stack of souls if you want to go across the planet. And overall, this is pretty strong for Wortox. This is definitely his biggest change as of the update. So what does this mean for the character throughout the game? Early game Wortox is about the same since he has access to the same abilities, if not a bit more manageable in his downsides, because while he's healing, he also regens a tiny bit of sanity, which means you're not going to have to do things like build a top hat, or get a tam, or pick flowers, or pick mushrooms, things of that nature. He's not going to have to deal with that as much. However, I don't think that is impactful enough to make a huge difference. But that's about it in regards to his short-term benefits, other than the long-range teleport, which is useful throughout the game. However, I think it shines tons and tons more in mid to late game than Wortox previously did. With access to his long-range teleports, he can activate already established farms on cooldown, meaning when he is paired up with certain characters, he can be incredibly strong for gathering resources. As a Winona main, the first thing that I thought of when I saw this change to his update was, wow, Wortox can now just teleport to any Winona farm, and it doubles as a soul farm for him. So he could go to a Vard farm from anywhere on the map, stock up on souls there, and then just come back with even more souls. He could go to a pig farm every full moon, set that up, and he can run it better than every other character can, because he could just teleport there when he needs to be there, and then just leave. Soul healing, restoring sanity, is also somewhat of a alright thing. It's not incredibly strong later game, because, for the most part, people have access to things like jelly beans, which heal Wortox to the same degree as any other character. The biggest issue of Wortox is still his effectively double hunger drain. He's going to have to be eating a lot of his souls, which means you're going to have a consistent way by late game to get souls that doesn't require a lot of input and doesn't drain a lot of resources such as time and weapon durability. this is where combos like Wortox Winona come in. This is where combos like a spider farm with tentacles or something comes in. Overall, Wortox is a pretty strong character. I definitely don't think he is as strong as people make him out to be, though, even still with all these updates, just because of how bad of a detriment double hunger drain is. However, I definitely think that this one update, that one teleport change in particular, stood him up several levels on my hypothetical tier list, which it's been a while since I went back and revisited that. And it's probably going to be a bit longer because I want to wait until at least all the characters are reworked and are at a more or less solid foundation. But that's all I really wanted to talk about. Just wanted to elaborate on what I thought about Wortox. Bye-bye.